Okay, so this is Unit 7, Lesson Lesson 17. We're going to be reviewing common multiples. So for your first activity, it's a notice and wonder. So it says circle all the multiples of 4 in the first list, circle all the multiples of 6 in this list, and then what do you notice, what do you wonder? Okay, and we're actually going to do this activity together. Obviously, we're going to do it together today, which it would be Monday for you guys. So I'm not going to do this part of the video, but just understand we are going to be doing a notice and wonder together. Okay, so moving on to the second activity. All right, so this is the florist order. And I want you to be thinking about what multiples are and how they're a little bit different than factors. And remember that instead of doing a tall T, when we do multiples, we do a sideways T. Okay, so it says a florist can order roses in bunches of 12 and lilies in bunches of 8. Last month, she ordered the same number of roses and lilies. All right, so question number 1 says if she ordered no more than 100 of each flower, each kind of flower, how many bunches of each could she have ordered? Find all the possible combinations. All right, so for number 1, just like we did with the GCF activity, we're going to find how many would work to go in both. So she could have 4 different orders. So she could have 2 bunches of roses and 3 bunches of lilies, and each one of those, they would have 24 in them. So 2 bunches of roses and 3 bunches of lilies. All right, and so in order to do this one, I'm going to actually have to go up here so that I have enough room. Like I said, you're going to do your sideways T. And we have 12 roses, 8 lilies. So I'm going to put 8 on top, I'm going to put 12 on the bottom. Now we're finding the smallest number that is the same in both of these numbers. So remember, we found our first 8 multiples. So 8, 16, 24, 32, and then 40. And remember, this is times 1, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5. So then if we do 12, 24, you guys should realize that's where our least common multiple comes in. 36, 42, no, I'm sorry, 36, 48. My math is not good today. And then 60. And again, this is times 1, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5. So with 24 being our LCM, that means that it takes 3 bunches of lilies and 2 bunches of roses. Okay, because we're using the number that we're multiplying those numbers by in order to find out how the bunches work. All right, so then we could also do 4 bunches of roses and 6 bunches of lilies, because if we do one more number here, we have 48, which is times 6. All right, and then our next multiple would be 48. All right, so here we would do 4 bunches of roses and 3 bunches of lilies, and that's going to give us 48. And then the last one, I do not have enough room to write, but just so you guys know, there are 2 more, because remember, they have up 100, so they have to keep going until they either get to 100 or they surpass 100. So the next one would be 6 bunches of roses and 9 bunches of lilies, which would be 72 each. And then the last one would be 8 bunches of roses and 12 bunches of lilies, which is 96. All right. Number 2 for this one says, what is the smallest number of bunches of roses that she could have ordered? And what about the smallest number of bunches of lilies? Explain your reasoning. So with this one, the smallest number she can order, we answered with the very first one because 24 is the smallest or the least common multiple, and it's 2 for the roses and 3 for the lilies. And that's essentially your answer. So 2 bunches of roses and and 3, make sure I said it correctly, wrote it correctly, 3 bunches of lilies because 24 is the smallest number between them. Okay? All right, moving on to the third activity, and this is the last activity. The least common multiple of 6 and 8 is 24. So what do you think the term least common multiple means? All right, so just like when we were talking about GCF, the least common or the greatest common factor is the biggest number that goes into both numbers. The least common multiple is the smallest multiple that the number shares. And remember, it's 2 or more numbers. Okay? All right, number 2 says find all the multiples of 10 and 8 that are less than 100, and then find the least common multiple of 10 and 8. So here we're going to do our sideways T. Now this means we are going to go until we get to 100, or right before we get to 100. So I'm going to find the multiples. Usually we only go out 5, but this time I'm going to go out till I get to 100. So 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80, 88, and then 96. And I'm stopping there because my next one is going to be what? 104? If I can do my math right. Yeah, 104, which would put me over 100. All right, so then I'm going to do my multiples of 10, which is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then obviously it goes right into 100. So we found all the multiples that are less than 100. Now we have to find the least common multiple. So if you go through, what's the first number that both columns have in the same? So which would be 40. So 40, my LCM equals 40. Okay? All right, this last one, same kind of thing. It says find all the multiples of 7 and 9 that are less than 100, and then find the least common multiple. So let me fold this in half a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to put 7 on top. You don't have to put the smaller number on top. I like putting the smaller number on top. As long as you have the correct multiples, that is fine. So we have 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70, 77, 84, 91, and then 98. And again, we're stopping there because if we do another one, it's going to go over 100. All right, so then down here, we have 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90, and then 99 is our last number. So then we have to find the LCM. So we're looking for the one that is the smallest between the two. And it looks like our smallest number is actually 63, which doesn't seem like that small, but that is the smallest number that is the same between both of them. So your LCM for 7 and 9 is 63. All right, hopefully this was a good refresher for you guys. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them while we're discussing the math lesson. All right, bye.